So, interestingly, your name is around the saint around PR, and you've been a lot in the public limelight in the media space. So, how did you get into what you do now?
Oh Lord, how much time do you have?
Please try to be brief for us.
In a very strange way, I would say I got into this because of secondary school, and I explain. When I was in secondary school, I was in the Quiz Writers and Debaters Club. All right, so that was what
just like myself at the same school we went to.
Exactly. But
present by the way.
When I got to Legon in my first year, I've never had an ambition of becoming a journalist. So it wasn't like I wanted to be a journalist. There was a Friday that my very good friend Leslie Ajavon, who was in the Debaters Club with me when we were in Presec, but was now studying for medicine, said to me that they needed somebody to go on a radio debate on a Friday because the person who they had planned to come hadn't shown up. So basically they told me, I think the morning, that I should get to Yodo University at 2 o'clock to do some debate. And this was on a program hosted by DJ Black. All right. So I think they said we're debating which of the genders was more promiscuous in relationships. And I entered the debate totally unprepared. And my opposite number was Araba Sam Anan, who's a gay girl. Obviously, she had been prepared better than I had. So we got on this debate at 2 o'clock on the show, and we'll debate for like, say, 10 minutes, and then they open the phone lines. According to the phone callers, I lost the debate, but I still believe I won that debate. But so fine, I lost the debate, but the station manager sort of liked my spirit and I was completely unrelenting. Even when the phone callers were calling, I was arguing with the phone callers. I was just completely petulant. And he was like, I don't like your arguments, but I like your spirit. So do you want to be a journalist? I said, I've never thought about it. He says, well, if you are free on Mondays, we can train you to be a journalist. So Francis Ankara then took me under his wing, Alaji and Co. The rest is history. Wow. So I stumbled into a debate, and I guess I've been arguing ever since. So
that was succinct and straight to the point. So same question for you, Elsie. How did you get into what you currently do now?
Do you know what I currently do?
Well, when you were introduced, we mentioned the Dean of School of Engineering Sciences, amongst other things.
Yes, I do too many things. But let's focus on being Dean of Engineering Sciences at the University of Ghana. It's been a very long journey, and Bernard has done well, so I'll also give you the short version. When I was growing up, everybody thought I would go to medical school and become a medical doctor. And that was what I was following all through my education up until secondary school. I was still thinking I was going to go to medical school, but life happened, and I wound up in engineering school.
Let me pause you for a moment. I mean, we know you are the quiz mistress of NSMQ, but we want to know your secondary school. Not because you are biased towards your school.
I went to Ebri Girls Secondary School. Paul Sohan.
Okay,
yes. So up until that point, I was still preparing to go to medical school. I got a chance to leave Ghana on scholarship. I went out to the UK. I went to the United World College of the Atlantic.
Okay.
I was still studying physics, chemistry, biology, of course, with mathematics at that point. Still thinking of going to medical school. Then, like I said, life happened. I went to university at University of Pennsylvania. And in the US, you don't usually start medical school right away. You have to do pre-med. Mm-hmm. And so I basically chose the subject bioengineering. The description sounded like something you do before you go to medical school. I didn't know what it was. So I wound up in engineering school.
Just like many Legon and tech students today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wound up in engineering school. And I enjoyed my engineering school experience so much that I decided not to go to medical school after all.
Awesome.
Awesome. So I went all the way up to PhD. By the way, by the time I was studying this bioengineering, it was not available here in Ghana. And to get outside to Ghana, to the United World College of the Atlantic, I had been selected to represent Ghana. And the panel that selected me said, go out there, study as much as possible, come home and make a difference. And so you can imagine a young person with that kind of burden on me, when I found out that we didn't have it in Ghana, I decided to make it a project. It's my responsibility to bring bioengineering to Ghana. In order to do that, I figured if I came back with a bachelor's degree, nobody would listen to me. I had to study as much as possible so that by the time I showed up here, I was the expert. So I studied this thing, went all the way to PhD, and then did even postdoc, 3 years of postdoc. Yes, and then showed up in Ghana. Now, University of Ghana was looking for an opportunity to start engineering.
Okay.
And so I was immediately put on the committee. In fact, the promise to start engineering came before I showed up. And then I was put on the committee to help start engineering. Now, being on that committee, obviously, biomedical engineering had to be part of it. I was also responsible for the material science and engineering program. Anyway, long story short, we have an engineering school at University of Ghana. And I was working really hard. Basically, this school, I feel, is my baby.
Yep, well, it is.
So I worked really hard, rose through the ranks, and when the opportunity came, actually, when they were looking for a dean, I was at UHAS on sabbatical. Colleagues kept calling me, "Are you not coming back? Apply for the position." And I thought about it. I applied for the position, and I was given the job. So that's how I became Dean of the School of Engineering Sciences.
Excellent. Please, a huge round of applause for Prof. I want to come back to Bernard and dig in a bit. So the 3 key words we've been focusing on. So every year we pick 3 words, and this year is impact, innovation, and quality. And I mean, we've talked about this, that like you've hosted the City Breakfast Show for many years, and I feel that the show is used to drive a lot of solutions. And the show has also made a lot of impact through the conversations that you've also had. Please help us understand what is the thought process around that. Like, why is the show the way it is? Because it's quite different from many radio shows in Ghana. So why is it the way it is? And how do you see it driving impact in Accra, in Ghana, etc.?
Thank you, Ato. So just like Barcamp, we see the show as a conversation. And I think that one of the most important things in life is a conversation, because the quality of your conversation determines the quality of your decisions, generally. You can have a conversation with yourself, all right? You can have a conversation with your God or with other people. So it's not, when I started doing radio, it was more like one man hosts a show, reads the news or the news headlines, interviews people, and then basically takes phone calls. So it's basically one person talking to imaginary people. But from like 2011ish, we decided I would create a conversation which was intelligent, which would also reflect what average Ghanaians were thinking, but couldn't really vocalize. All right. So, for example, yesterday, right, I was doing, and the conversations are not always planned. So, what did I discuss yesterday? Yesterday was Friday, or was it?
Friday, yeah.
Okay. So, I was doing a birthday dedication for somebody, and then something came up around Kwame Nkrumah. It was so random, right? And then Richard Sky said, "Oh, he's also a Kwame Nkrumah guy." And then, good.
I'm also a Kwame Nkrumah guy.
How did it even happen? So, good. Somebody sent me like an acronym.
Okay.
Right? It says, push, pray until something happens. Then I said, okay, Ghana, God has a nation ahead. And Sky says, no, God has chosen Nkrumah already. Then I was like, so you're also an Nkrumah guy. So Charlie, Nkrumah is my guy, except for the one-party state.
Okay. Right?
And I said, but what's wrong with one-party state? And then that's how we had a whole discussion around democracy in Ghana, how Western concepts of democracy differ from Eastern ideas, and whether people need to choose between food or making a choice. Basically, it was a whole discussion.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we sat down and said, this is what we're going to discuss. So it was basically having intelligent people on the program who read and think a lot about their country, who are passionate and honest. And when you put them together around good music, things happen. You get my point? So there was no way we could have sat down to plan a discussion around comparing the Chinese democracy to American democracy, and then talking about 68 years of Ghana and why ethnicity, selfishness, and all those things need to be dealt with. and whether we have a choiceless democracy or not, and why. I mean, imagine what kind of preparation do you need to do as a show?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the best thing is to have people like Richie Sky, Francisca Kakra-Folsen, or Godfred Akotobo, or whichever variation of teams. I've had about 5 different teams I've worked with.
Yeah.
So the idea is to have a conversation that is not just flippant around who's sleeping with who tomorrow or whatever. It's more around structural change.
Okay.
All right. How do you promote made in Ghana ideas? So basically, we think of impact in 3 ways. Influencing the people on the show. So for me, my success is in growing leaders around me.
Great.
Number 2, changing the mindset of the average Ghanaian around citizenship, responsibility, values. So it's not about just what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. How do you live with integrity? And also influencing policies that shape systems. So things around the police and the way they behave, agriculture, trade, science, education. So it's like there's no school you can go to pray for this. Basically, you just have to love your country, be inquisitive, talk to people. Even as I'm listening to it, I'm getting programming ideas. So I could go on air on Monday morning and something come up around Asin, and then something she said will pop up, and then it's become 2 hours of engagement.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the show happens. I guess it's more like if you put the right people together around the right ideas, things just happen. So that's basically how we measure and conceptualize what we do.
Awesome. Please, a big round of applause for Bernard. I want to stay with you, Bernard. So there are a few words that you've mentioned I think are really important. Intelligence, integrity, and influence. They're all in words.
Yeah.
But I think, because I'm just wondering that even this Chinese democracy, American democracy thing, like you have to be intelligent to discuss all of these things.
Yeah.
So I think just the pursuit of knowledge is also really important for all of us to be more like you.
Yeah.
But I want to follow up and ask about like the solutions bit. So now you have these conversations, and then you guys do things out of the conversations.
Yeah.
How has that happened, or what can you share around that?
So there's a lot of frustration around people saying Ghana we talk too much and this all talk, and I feel like a lot of times it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? Talking is not bad, but you can't just talk, okay? And my mandate as a radio presenter is not to fix roads. It's to have people to think around the right things. And to build a country, you need mindsets to be shaped. So it's not that we talk too much. We don't talk enough of the right things, right? So I guess that's people say, oh, you guys are always talking. Ghana, we do nothing but talk alone. And I'm like, okay, how do you communicate ideas without talking to a citizenry that majority doesn't even read or write? So talking is critical. Yeah. But I understand when people say we talk a lot. So I guess out of that...
Would you say it is what we talk about?
So yeah, so a lot of times when people say we talk too much, it's possibly because we talk about the wrong things. And also a lot of times our politicians translate... Basically, they come and say we've launched something and expect the thing to implement itself. So a lot of times when you read the newspapers, if you analyze all the stories, it's all about intention. It's not about finish or completions. Your life is a series of completions. But in Ghana, our announcements are a series of intentions. Right?
Please, who is tweeting this?
So it's very like... So if you take the graphic tomorrow morning, Minister of Trade has acquired 40,000 acres of land so that will produce something. So they're always initiating things. It's very rare that they say, we have finished and analyzed and learned. So there's a lot of intentions translated as action. So when a politician comes to announce something, his party members, because they want people to clap for them, say, yeah, we've done it. And I feel like, you know, if you really want to change something, you need to follow the discipline of implementation.
Great.
So that's one thing. So out of that frustration, also knowing that media is not just a platform for conversation, but so we have convincing power, but we also have convening power. All right. So in a way, if you want to be successful in what you need to understand the platform and what it means. So we don't just have arguments. We can also say, this week we are buying made in Ghana food, and we're going to buy it for 3 days, and we're going to encourage 50,000 people to come and buy made in Ghana produce, because that's convening power that you get from your credibility. So if we say, okay, we'll split the year into 4 quarters. Every quarter we'll do something that brings home something we discuss. So every March we do Heritage Month, where we discuss where we come from as a people, right? But we say there's no point talking about Ghana if you don't visit Ghana. So organize 3 buses, 150 people, travel across the country. We call it the Heritage Caravan. So you eat Ghanaian food, visit Ghanaian, because in a way even tourism is domestic first, right? So in March we do heritage caravan. But we also say it's not just visiting the places, eating the food. Mm-hmm. So we do Back to Your Village Food Festival, where we build the northern village, the central village, and the coastal village. Come and eat Tubani, come and eat Apaprensa, come and learn how people are treating these foods to make them commercial. So basically, you are shaping minds, because economic decisions are emotional decisions. So you eat KFC as against papaya because of how you've been shaped.
Yeah.
And so it's not just a question of I prefer KFC. And we understand this. So when we say come and eat Ghanaian food, it's all part of the conversation. But you are using convenient part to let people sample Ghanaian food. And then in June, we talk about business, entrepreneurship, supporting small business. You round that off with what we call the This is Ghana exhibition, where people are doing beads, textiles, clothes, whatever, that they export.
Yeah.
Then in December, now November, we do back to, we call it Agri-Fair. So there's always a logical rallying point around converting the ideas into actionable things.
Great.
Because the citizens have agency. So long as they're just calling and complaining, nothing changes. But if all Ghanaians say we'll buy Ghana rice, we spend 300 million importing rice. So instead of simply complaining about the fact that people are dumping rice and 10-year-old chicken in our markets, if people actually buy Ghana chicken and buy Ghana rice and train the palate of their kids to eat it, then you can get economic freedom, right? So the media is transitioning from just conversation into convening for action. So that's how I conceptualize what we do, which is why every topic is possible, and every quarter there's something that brings physical people to be part of that. And also, last point, advertisers is a business, right? Advertisers also want to interact with human beings. So for today's program, Haptel is here. A lot of business are here because you've brought people together. So when you do an agri-fair and 20,000 people come, the advertiser is able to actually engage physical people. So it solves the business problem. It also solves the national challenge. You understand? So it's a lot of things, but it's taken us almost 20 years to figure out for me to explain it this simply. It wasn't as simple as that. So we learn on the job as we do it.
Yeah.
So it's been iterative. But basically, this is a nutshell of what we do, and that's how we do the things we do. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. So, yeah, please, you can. I just want to say something before I come to you. But, I mean, you talked about the 2011 and, kind of like making that decision, and it's 14 years in. So, I think even for like because the Agri-Fair and Co are also recent, Heritage Caravan. So I think every 4 years or 3 years, there's a reinvention and we're adding great things. Please, another round of applause for Bernard as we come to Prof. So, Prof, I want to ask about innovation. So especially even thinking about like bioengineering and material science, which is not as popular as maybe electrical and things like that. What are you seeing? How are you seeing young people innovate through, the School of Engineering Sciences and around the country? Because I know, through your foundation, you work with the likes of Dext and other people.
Yes. I have seen Ghana change significantly from the time I showed up. I showed up in 2001 to this time. If you will remember, we had serious issue, even people trying to make practical what they were learning in school. These were not things that were common in those days. When I showed up, I actually identified a problem, which was students that just wanted to be spoon-fed information for you to give them exactly what you taught them in class back, for them to reproduce and get their grade and move on. I have so many stories, and that's how I identified some of these problems. The world has changed, and Ghana has also changed significantly. I don't know if people will agree with me, but I see the change. Now, young people have realized that just sitting in class, consuming whatever is being told to them, is not going to make them relevant. So there's a lot more drive for information and a lot more drive for skills and a lot more drive for innovation from our young people. And I see that every day. I see our students now going off apprenticing themselves to different industries. I have seen biomedical engineering students that have gone on to learn from electricians. They work in the electrician's shop to learn some skill. I have seen young people participating in every hackathon that shows up. Some are organizing them themselves, right? That comes with its own challenge, which I will talk about in a bit. But there's this drive to make something beyond what they are being told. And that is what is bringing the innovation. There are young people that are doing amazing things, and you mentioned Dext. I supported Dext because of the things I had seen before, where people don't really, in the beginning, people did not believe that they could actually innovate and come up with products right here in Ghana. They simply didn't believe it. And it's because we didn't have the examples.
Yeah.
The support that I showed for Dex was because it was a locally made product. This is a group, a young person with his team doing something right here in Kumasi that actually can scale and be used around the world.
Awesome.
These are things that we are seeing more of, and our people are beginning to see that they can actually do something with what they are learning. So innovation is on the rise from what I can see. But innovation is not just coming up with one idea and pitching the same idea everywhere, which is what I said. I see issues with some of the pitching things.
So people
that are
pitching, like pitchpreneurs and things like that.
Yes. And they even bring it to the classroom these days. Engineering school, you're in class and your whole final year project is a pitch. That's a problem. Because we need the people to have the depth and substance.
Okay.
Right? Not the surface things that you do at these pitch events. So we have gone to that extent, where people are thinking about new products, new ideas, new things right here with us. So my students are doing well in that respect. You see them everywhere.
Excellent.
Yes, you see them everywhere. And just yesterday, I was having a conversation with someone that we are producing miracles here in Ghana. The reason being, our students, if you look at their fees, they are paying the equivalent of $300 a year. Yes. And yet we graduate them. Some go out into the world. They are in the US, they are in China, they are in other places in the world. They are sitting next to the people that went to schools like mine, spending $70,000 a year, and they are the ones winning the awards and telling me the stories. They get back to me and tell me the stories. Is it not a miracle? That means we are doing something right. There's something we can do. When they go, they struggle a bit in the beginning with the practical things. But they do catch up, and they have that wish to make something of themselves. That is what is propelling them around the world.
And inspired by you, more of them will come back and make it a better country.
Hopefully.
Please, a big round of applause for Prof. So I want to come back to Bernard. I'm mindful of time. We are going to ask you, we'll get to ask different questions, not just me asking all the questions. So I want to talk about quality. But you mentioned about, through the years, kind of like, I've forgotten what exactly you said, but you talk about the people who come through the City Breakfast Show, and like they are being trained or they are getting better. And some of them, are probably quite young when they come to work with you guys, or all of you at Omnimedia, City FM. What would you say separates the young people who have more quality than others? The ones that you've worked with, what separates them? What do they do differently?
Wow, that's a big question. A couple of things. I feel like your personal attributes around being inquisitive, being okay, I'll give you two examples. So two of the people I've worked I've liked. So let's say Jude Duncan or Susu Graham.
Okay.
So Jude is he hosts now the TV breakfast show, and Susu Graham is gone back to Canada. All right. Jude went to a normal public school, which is Accra and Legon. Susu went to SOS and studied in Canada. Both are equally brilliant. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not about fines, and of course the school fees you pay at SOS is not the same fees you pay at Accra. So back to her story. Both of them are teachable. So they will learn what they know and they will challenge you. But when you provide superior information, they will yield. All right? Number two, they have a sense of where they are going. They both understand what media means. All right? So they may not necessarily be, they are neither trained journalists. Jude was at university for a few years. I don't even think Jude had done any serious media. Both of them know that media is very powerful and that before you open your mouth, you have to prepare well. Okay? So that's the second thing about them. And they are hardworking because media is very tough. You go to work in the morning. Sometimes you leave very late. Sometimes you go for unplanned assignments. You sweat a lot. So I would say if you want to be successful in something, obviously get the hard side. Do your engineering, do your numbers well. But your teachability, your cognitive flexibility, all right? So for example, before the previous election, we all had to go and redo Excel. And some guy came to teach us. And some of the guys who came to teach us were not even university graduates. But they will give you an assignment, you have to do it. All of us were doing it, even though I struggled a lot. All of us had to go back to, because we are going to do election analysis. Yeah. So you have to be trainable. You have to be flexible, all right? Okay. And you don't have to be somebody who's just looking for fame. Because even though media gives you that platform, I don't like it when people say, oh, I just want to have followers so I become an influencer, that kind of thing. No, it's more, I feel like media is too serious for people who just want to be, I want to be popular so I can be an influencer to make money. No, it's more about, I feel like Ghana has many issues. And if I train myself and I get a platform, I can take charge of one aspect of Ghana's problems and use my knowledge and influence to shape the thinking around it. That's the kind of mindset that's successful in media.
Great.
All right. As against, I just want a platform to showcase my nice face, my new haircut, and that kind of thing. we don't really want that. Because at the end of the day, it's public service.
Okay.
The thing about media is that it's public interest. All right. What makes a show successful? What concerns people? So people will say today the Accra Kumasi Road, too many potholes. You do a show on it, or there's no water in Teshin. So it's what the public needs solved that you bridge that gap. Yeah. So you have to be selfless. If it's all about you and I don't have enough money, I haven't eaten today, you can't do it because you are serving the public, even though you are not paid by the government. The reward is the public trust.
Yeah.
Now, if people trust you, they begin to bring real issues to you and they start giving you real news leads. They start telling you that there's something going on here. Let your guys go and investigate and expose it. You get it? So it's not for the highest bidder. It's for what story deserves, because the media has three roles: gatekeeping, watchdog, and scorekeeping. Gatekeeping means that you decide of all the 1,000 issues in people's heads, which three of them will come on the front page. That's a big responsibility. Now, if you don't understand the public interest, if you are not selfless, and you don't understand how your country works, you're going to abuse that platform, right? Yeah. So I feel like it's more the soft issues around their attitude to learning, their flexibility, their willingness to sacrifice. That's what has set apart the good ones from those who just come and disappear in a few days. Yeah.
Great. Please, round of applause for Bernard. Prof, I want to ask you the same question, but I just want to ask Bernard a question before I come to you. So when you were talking, I was thinking about the public interest, the public trust, but I was also thinking about money, because as a media house, you have to keep things running. Do you feel that the public trust helps you guys make more money? So that's kind of like the first question. And then secondly, City FM, and then when City TV started, now Channel 1 TV, has supported Barcamps and Ghana things so much. Why? Like, what do you see in what we are doing that makes you want to support us before we come to Prof?
So the media is very different from other businesses. If you set up media to make money, you will just be disappointed. Everywhere that media has been successful is being subsidized, whether it's BBC or CNN, because what media achieves is not the bottom line. You are shaping minds. Even if you're entertaining people, you are entertaining to enlighten. So it's not about money. By your point around the public trust, of course, why would somebody come and advertise on my show? Because people listen to me. Why do people listen to me? Because they trust me. So trust is the currency, which you translate for the difference between our consumer and our customer.
Okay.
Our consumer is the listener. Our customer is the advertiser.
Yep.
And sometimes you will be faced with this. The customer wants something done. Never forget that your consumer is the one who gives you the credibility. So most media houses, there's a challenge between programs and sales, where programs want to keep the purity of a program and sales want to do what makes money. When a media house starts yielding to what makes money, its days are numbered. Because we don't exist to make money. You exist to use the public trust to make positive change. Okay. So sometimes you will even take on businesses that sponsor you, and they will say they won't sponsor, and they can take their money away. Because when the people trust you, they will be forced to come back.
Excellent.
When you start yielding to what the businesses or the money people want, it could be politicians, you lose the public trust and you don't have a business.
Wow.
So I would say we don't exist to make money, but obviously the trust the public has in us helps us to keep the media house running, to pay people well. So that's the balance you need to strike if you want the media to be sustainable. But for a long term, we need different funding models where private media that does the public interest must use partnerships to find ways of being independent from those they cover. Because of the 10 principles of journalism, one of this is that journalists must be independent of the people they cover. Yeah. And if a media house is not financially sustainable or viable, it cannot have independence to do the real difficult work of keeping power in check. Excellent. But these are discussions not for here. We will discuss them at GIG. But those are the ideas around this. Thank you.
Sure. And then the second question, please, round of applause for Bernard. I see the second question about supporting and Barcamps in Ghana.
Oh, wow. I mean, look, we say we are trying to help build the country. Don't forget that for us, the objective of the media is not to be the most successful media house. It's to use the platform to help build a nation. You understand? So my job is not to be the best journalist in Ghana. My job is to shape the minds of those who listen to me to push the nation to where it's going. That's why I'll help Charles with Dex Technology. That's why I'll help Barcamp. That's why, so when I see somebody who's trying in a different sector to do the same thing I'm doing in a different way, I have to help them, whether they have money or not. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because we are all trying to get Ghana to become a better place to live. I just happen to have the platform. But that platform cannot manufacture science set for our basic school students. So if somebody has a great idea and I have access to the minister, I should be able to tell the minister, you need to give this guy audience. You need to procure locally and pay him the right amount so he can do it better. Don't go and import something from China to make an extra money. No. So I need to use the respect he has for me to put pressure on him to do it.
Great.
So the public trust is not just writing stories. It's using my influence to promote the right things. So if Barcamp is happening and young people are discussing entrepreneurship, innovation, and impact, I don't need to take money. I need to give them a platform to say the things I've been saying on air, these are the guys doing it. So listen to them. So it's very natural to do it. It's a no-brainer. Yeah. Thank you.
Please, a huge round of applause for Bernard. As we come to Prof, for a last question before we come to everybody. So, I mean, thankfully, like a lot of the partners that we also have for Barcamp Accra are, locally based, building lots of great things as well, and we'll get to hear from them very soon. So, Prof, I want to ask you the same question about the quality. So, I mean, you launched your foundation, I think it's now 3 years?
Yes.
3 years. So, for the foundation, you've had to work with young people, like volunteers. Yes. You see a lot of young people that you train at, the School of Engineering. So, similarly, what separates the best ones from others, so far as quality?
I will have to agree with Bernard with what he said about the mindset and the outlook. Technical competence alone does not give you quality. We have seen that over and over again, because if you have somebody that's technically competent but lacks integrity, they will create all kinds of problems for you. Yes. And so that mindset of wanting to give back, that mindset of wanting to improve from year to year, that mindset of wanting to contribute something to our nation. All these things are extremely important. So how do we nurture these kinds of young people? And that's why I've been supporting Barcamp as well. Whenever I get a chance to speak to young people, I am talking to them. Even in class, I sometimes deviate from just the technical things to talk about being a good human being,
Great.
About being ethical with what you do, about the need to improve in order to safeguard lives as engineers. I tell my students, for example, that when the doctors are killing, they kill one patient at a time. When an engineer is killing, mass killing. So you need to make sure that you are at your very... that you are at your very best. You are improving. You are learning what you're supposed to learn, and you actually care about the people that you interact with.
Okay.
In addition to that, it's not, yes, and I agree with Bernard as well, it's not just about the accolades, the recognitions, about those things are byproducts. If you are doing your activities well, you are putting in the best to deliver high quality, it will get recognized. So it is a byproduct. It cannot be the main product.
Great.
So like he said, you cannot go into something, education, go into training young people and think that you want to make a name, become famous. If that is your end game, you will fail miserably. So you do what is required to the best of your ability and it will get recognized.
Excellent. Please, a huge round of applause for Prof.